So I'm gonna shoot this more vlog style in the G7X because it's so hard to get in the GT3 by myself. It's a Saturday, so I don't have my camera crew. I have to get in the GT3 and do the roll bar, but it's Saturday, day before the, I guess, morning of the OG Christmas party, and so I snuck out, caught a workout in next door, did a little organization next door, did a little organization here, and now we're going to dig into the GT3. I really would like to try to get the Dsc Controller in, the roll bar in, and the radar detector, but I think I'm being a little ambitious considering I only have 3 or 4 hours to do it. Hopefully I can get the roll bar in and the Dsc Controller in and go from there. Oh, I can't wait to get the other side. I bought a building, so the CrossFit gym is going to go away into a new building, and then OGHQ is about to expand, so I can not have these things where I've got crap everywhere taking photos and stuff for Mantis Tool Grid. So I already did this about a week ago, where I took the interior out, so I took the back carpeting out. It's amazing how much this neoprene or whatever this stuff is, how much it dampens sound. It's actually kind of cool to not have it in there. Took the styrofoam piece out and a couple of other pieces out of the back. So the back of the car is already taken apart. But I put the seats back in because it's been 3 weeks since I originally started tearing it apart, and then I ran out of time with Black Friday. So what I'm going to do first, open up the front trunk, disconnect the battery, then take the seats out, take both seats out. You can see I already took some of the trim apart, so I'll show you there. I didn't realize that I never shot a video of either of my GT3s. I did the same harness bar in both, but I never shot a video of either one of those. So we'll do that here today. So I'll have it to reference next time when I have to do it. And I've never done it myself. I had who was it? The first one. The second one was done at a shop up near Esoteric, and so it was. I never even was there. Never even saw it. And the first one, is David Hugh, who now works for Active Auto Work, but he worked at PSI when he was in college, and so he and I did it. Well, mainly he did it, and I just kind of watched. But I photoed it, but I didn't video it. So I'm going to video this here today and stumble through this and figure out how to get it done. So I like this. This is mainly for the look. And I know some of you purists are going to lose your crap. And actually, purists won't care. It's the people who aspire to be purists who will care. But this is a GMG RSR harness bar. It actually adds quite a bit of rigidity to the car, but I like it because it's closed off in the back but open in the front. It actually uses the seatbelt location that it mounts to. Actually, it's the seatbelt location for the regular seats, not the sport bucket seats that I have. But it's I like it in satin black. I don't like to do paint matched, so I like it in satin black. Just a subtle little upgrade, and it adds quite a bit of structural rigidity. So anyway, let's get the seats out. Let's get the battery disconnected, the seats out. Oh, let me show you the Dsc controller. So Dsc controller looks like this. I got one for the GT3 and one for the Corvette, and I've never had one of these. I've always wanted one. The basic concept here is that will replace our suspension, I guess you'd call it your suspension tuning module. There's a little ECU a little computer here that will replace the factory one. Tells you I'm going to go check out the installation instructions. I think it's pretty simple. I already have the car apart. I already know where it is. I think it's simple plug and play. And then the thing I'm not sure of is how do we set it up? You know, they send it pre-programmed from what I understand. So it's preset for their recommended specs, and everybody's ever gotten one of these says it transforms an already amazing suspension. So I'm excited to do this. Uh-oh. 91.1. That's not good. I have an 91.2 with a completely different suspension. Alright, I just went down this massive rabbit hole. Yeah, I got the wrong Dsc controller. I should have noticed it on my invoice. And then I called my buddy Andy, who has had a .1, .2 with both. He has a Dsc controller in both. And, you know, the simple question, it doesn't tell you anywhere on the darn website or anywhere, like, what do I need to do? Like, I understand how to install it. That's simple. And I went and found all these install videos, but in none of the videos does it actually tell you Like, what do I do with this thing? Do I need to download a file? Do I need to zero something out or do some sort of calibration? And from what, you know, Andy and I understand that it comes preloaded. Problem is, I've got the box that's preloaded for a .1, and I have a .2. And so then the other question was, can I just go in the software? So I download the software, which is, of course, Windows only, which I freaking hate. And so I get into Windows on Bryce's computer, figure out how to download it. Then I realize I don't have the right cable, so I'm gonna have to go get another cable. And so I just called Andy before I did that and said, hey, you know, it's .1. He had to get a new box because the axle lift is different on the .2. And then there's supposedly nothing you need to do. It comes preloaded with an RS file, .2 RS file. So they've done, you know, a calibration from various times at the track and setting up the software. So they send you with a preloaded file, and then you have the option to go into the software and adjust some things. I'm going to clarify all that. So the good news is that I'm going to get a real solid education on it to be able to provide hopefully some valuable detail. The only disadvantage is I'm going to have to crawl through the seats and pass the roll cage and all of that stuff to do it when I get the right controller. So for now, what I'm going to do is back to work. Take this off. You just pop the battery cover off. Set this aside. You don't need any tools or anything like that. Battery's right here, so I'm going to disconnect the negative. This time I'm going to remember not to close the trunk. I closed the front trunk before, I forgot, and then I had to go, you know, jump it. You have to you know, pull a post out and pop it open. There's your tool for your center locks, little tire filler kit. But I'm going to pull the negative off right now. Okay, this time I won't close it. I'm going to take out all 4 bolts on the seats. I also have to remove this, so this cap has to come off, and you have to pull the seat belt out so you can get the seats out. The reason why you disconnect the battery is you'll get an airbag. You'll get airbag lights if you disconnect or remove the seats with the battery connected. So the seat belt is a 17. So I'm going to pull this off. Pull this up out of the way, and you can just set it to the side here. And now I'm going to move the seat up and take the back out first, push the seat back, and take the front out next. I got this nifty little kneel seat from Smart Tech Innovations, I think it's called. Smart Design Innovations. And so it'll work well with the car being here. I guess I could put it on the lift and move it up, but all I do is put my knees in these little cups here, and I can kind of slide into position so it looks like this, where I can kneel and not jack up my knees while I'm taking these. These are E external torques, so it's a E12, and there's one on each side. So each sheet has a really simple clip here, this yellow that needs to be removed, that if you remove it with the battery connected, you'll get an airbag light that you can't really reset. So I'm going to pull that off and take the seat out. Shoot, I really like this thing for kneeling to do this. I didn't even forgot I was even kneeling there. Light comparison to a normal seat. Yeah. And do the same thing on the passenger side. Before I do that, I'm going to take this off. I need to get in here. The seatbelt mounting point. Okay, that's all out. Take the plug off, and then we have to pull the carpet back. I gotta find the seatbelt mounting point. I'll go look on the other side because I had to kind of yank this off, and I don't want to mess this side up. The other side I had to really stretch out. So again, I already have the carpet out, and I was hoping to do the Dsc controller real quickly, but it shouldn't be a problem to get in there once I get the right one. See that box right there? That's for the Dsc controller. So let me go take the passenger seat out. Here's my Milwaukee Tools plug. Got my little ratchet. Here's a good look at the seat outside of the car. Gosh, I know many of you can't believe that I like this green, but I do. I like it. I'm gonna take these off. Maybe I should coat the back of the seats. I don't think it's necessary on the inside. Oh, so good. I should Swissvax treat them while they're out. We'll see. So here's a look at what it looks like underneath. There's your Bose amp. So it's a great location to do a sound and motion system. I was playing with this whole side here, and what really has to happen is the whole piece has to come up, but I don't think we need to do that. So the hole that we need to go into, the hole is right where my finger is. And so I'm going to get a pick and poke through the carpet to try to find the exact location where I'll need to slit the carpet. And this is the seatbelt location. Alright, so you should be able to get in here. I can reach my hand in there. So I already pulled the, there's a little grommet, there's a little black grommet in there that you need to pull out. So this is the indentation area. It's like right here where this seatbelt location normally would be for a car without sport buckets. And that's what the bottom part of the roll bar connects to. So I was tearing that whole side apart, trying to figure out where it needed to connect. I would have known, but I had, you know, again, these seatbelts connect to the side of the seat versus the cars without sport buckets. So these 3 bolts here need to come off. Here's our Dsc controller. It's a suspension module control device, so that's where that'll go. So we'll easily be able to get to that. Of course, when we put the roll cage in, we're going to have to cut the carpet, but let's get it in first. So I'm going to take these 3 off, and then we'll slide the cage in place. I think what we do, I think these pop off. I can't remember. We'll see. I think those pop off and we slide it into place. But let's take the 4 top hat or the top bolts out, because that's what the back of the cage will bolt to. Okay, so there's a little, I'll show you in a minute, but there's a little circle on the cage, and so what we do, these 2 wires here, so this disconnects so that it's, you can see, so it just sticks up and we'll just feed it through. I pop this off here so I can route it over the top, and then we'll be able to slide this out of the way to slide the cage in. So all 3 bolts are out. Just set them right here. Alright, we're ready to put the top half of the cage in. This is not really a cage, it's a harness bar. And you have the 3 mounting points in the center hole. This is where it will connect up. I'm just going to wipe it off. It's been kind of dusty sitting over here. Since this is Obsessed Garage and I am back here already, I should probably window clean up back here because we're already here. Now this is tinted. It's also going to be a lot harder to clean it later. So let's just clean it up. Oh, I got this all open. Using invisible glass, a couple waffle weave towels. I'll use my reach and clean tool to get the rest. There we go, nice and clean. Yeah. These little side windows. Really should treat the leather. Yeah, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna treat the leather real fast. Sorry I'm blown out here, but it helps me to see. Yeah, so let's just, this is all leather here. So while it's all opened up back here, I'm gonna clean this leather up. This will only take a minute or 2, so I might as well do it. I've got Swissvax leather cleaner, Swissvax leather milk. I've got a color lock or Swissvax brush and an Adams block, all of which conveniently are in the OG store. I'm just going to spray this on. I guess I should have cleaned the windows second. Not that this is particularly dirty, but a nice fresh cleaning. Clean. I love this leather cleaner. It's freaking awesome. Yeah, and I doubt this is particularly dirty, but just kind of get it prepped to accept the leather milk. And this will probably be the last time I ever have to do this part of the car. And we'll do a good vacuuming once I get the roll bar in. A nice clean vacuum. The only main part I'm not looking forward to is cutting the carpet, but I'm hoping I can just hold it up and template it out somehow. It leaves it looking so nice and matte. Okay, I'm going to take my leather milk, shake it up a little, put it on the end of this thing, and just apply it. You don't need to cake this on, just a reasonable amount. Take my wipe towel, and I don't want to take it all off. I want to level it. I don't want to get rid of any shininess and just leave a nice matte finish behind. I feel like I had too many projects when I got this Porsche. I just haven't enjoyed it like I normally would. There we go. That's done. I can put this back on. I took this speaker grill off and I was trying to figure out what was what back here. Okay. Put the roll bar in. Do some serious damage with this thing. Probably not a one-person job. Probably a two-person job. I'm gonna make it a one-person. Hopefully. Let me just pull this up here. I think that'll do it. So I just pull this little box off so that I can get this in place, and then we'll put it back on. Okay, so that's what it looks like. And then over here, there's a little cutout for that little box we put back in place. So I'm going to put all the nuts on, kind of torque it down. Alright, so I put this all back together, both of these down. I think I do it tightly. This little module here that I took off. See this? This needs to come off and go back on. So Molex back on. Plug this back together. Same thing with the other side. Also, there's a plastic screw here and another one, right? See it right there? So I took those off just so I can push this out of the way to get it in place. Everything's back together. Okay, so here's the bolt that's going to go through this thing here and connect the seatbelt location to the roll bar. And so what I'm doing is I'm going to pull this carpet back, take a pick to poke a hole and line up the hole. Then I'll cut like a little triangle, just like a little X. And then I can push the bolt through and grab it. See it on the other side, how I've stuck it in there. So that way I don't have to make a giant hole in the carpet, but we can go through and figure out where it's located. Nice. So again, all I did was took this, poked the hole. Actually, I poked a little high, so I moved it down. And I just took this and made a little X. And so even when I do take this out in the future, there won't be some like giant hole in the carpet. So that's our location, that's our spot. So now I'm gonna get the rest of the bar, put it in place, then we can work on the carpet in the back. Almost. That's the way I'll do it, I think. So there we go, that makes more sense. So you put the feet in, so you get the 1 foot on the other side, feet in, and go with the top that way, not that way, otherwise you won't be able to flip it back. Okay, so now I should be able to keep this in place. Okay, now that you have this video, if you're watching this, there's no reason to mess with this and try to pull this panel off. Just leave it on, because you can just pull these 2 little carpet tabs back and you can reach the little grommet spot. So it's right in the seat belt indentation there. So you'll be able to feel a little black grommet in here. You'll be able to pull the carpet back right here and see it. And then you can kind of poke a hole through and then line it up. So now what I'm going to do is put the bolts up in the top, and then we'll line up the bottom. Maybe I should line up the bottom first. So the thing to do is take a little impact and just spin it to try to find the hole, and once you get the hole, then you can torque it down. Before I tighten anything, I'm going to do the other side first. Is. Alright, the bottom's sufficiently in. Now let's line up the top. Alright, they supply you with some hex head bolts. We'll put these in. I'm actually feeling pretty good about this. Let's hope we get it to line up here. Kind of figured I shouldn't tighten the back down. Alright, so you just kind of have to work these. I find that putting them in and sometimes backing it out helps. So when it starts to bind up, you back out the nut a little bit. Got to be careful with these. See, it wouldn't budge, and I backed it out a little bit. Kind of reseats, I guess. Sweet. Got it. So yeah, I had to loosen everything up. So loose down here, semi-loose up there. I'm going to get this to go. Nice, it kind of lined up because I couldn't tighten this one anymore a second ago. Don't be alarmed. It takes some convincing to get it to go correctly. Okay, everything's in there nice and tightly, nice and tidy. I'm gonna wipe it down, but there's one of the very top on this side isn't torqued, and it started to kind of round the hex head. But I've torqued down this part here, so that's all nice and tight. I'm gonna pull the carpet in there and see how hard that is to measure out and cut, because we have to trim some of the carpet back, but everything looks good. So I measured it out and I marked it a little bit lower than where it needs to be, it's 2 inches from here. I went back and looked at my old photos. So it's about 2 inches from here. I think it's about 3 inches over, and then 2 inches down. So I'm gonna get the iPad out and look at that. All right, so this is back when David did it, PSI. So you can see it's about 2 inches down, roughly. It's kind of hard to get it in there to eyeball it. I don't know how the heck he measured it, but that's how we're gonna do it. All right, so I've settled on, it's 1 3/4 inches from this gap. So 1 3/4 inches to 3 1/4 over 3 inches. So that's how I'm gonna cut it. All right, that looks pretty sharp. Now we'll find out if it's somewhat accurate. I have to trim more. Dang it. That's I think this is like a $600 or $700 rug. So you cut those out in order to fit past the roll bar. All right, vacuumed it up. I'm gonna go try to jam it in the car. Nice. Okay, carpet's in, first cut, first try. Looks pretty darn perfect. Proud of myself. You want it cut nice and tightly where it doesn't show. Cool. All right, taking a little Tarex to the back of the seat to get the warning label that it's not a back seat. I'll show you here. So there's that label on there that I'm taking off, and of course it's super difficult to get off. So you gotta use some Tarex. I got all the sticky off, and I'm just gonna wipe the back down to get the Tarex off. A little invisible glass. Put the seats back in. Just finished up, vacuumed it out. Bar's all done. Alright, that's a wrap. Cage is in. I don't think you can see it from here, but super clean, super nice. Looks just like my other one. Yeah, a lot of work, but the bad news is that the Dsc Controller, I'm gonna have to get another one, the Dot 2, and I forgot to put this back on with the carpet. So when I do the Dsc Controller, I'll put this piece back in place. It sits right on top of that control box in there and gives a little shape to the carpet, so I kind of messed that up. Alright, so that's a wrap. GT3 cage is in. Nice. So yeah, harness bar, clearly something you would do if you actually had harnesses, but I'd probably do a full cage if I was going to do a lot of track driving. I like how it looks. It gives a little structural rigidity. I think GT3 should have some sort of roll cage in it. I like the ability to be able to put the seat a little bit further back if I wanted to, and some of the cages will restrict that. So this is a much easier install. Anyway, thanks for watching. A lot more projects coming up. I ran out of time. I'm not going to do the radar detector today, but I got to lower it, get the Dsc Controller in, paint correct it, PPF, the whole thing. So catch you on the next one. As always, stay tuned for more crazy.